waharaba na kushego. Waharaba inan ini shego wah isub. Wah inan holo umaklinin. I want to tell you something. I want to tell you all something new. Something you never heard of before. I'll never forget that day in 7th grade when I realized that I was different. It was math class. I was staring at my desk, trying to comprehend the algebraic expressions in front of me, when I hear over the announcements, all students taking the access test, please come to the library. And as I stood up, still helplessly staring at my paper, I hoped I wouldn't walk all the way to the library alone. But that was not the case. I was the only one standing. And I had come to the realization that my classmates just had, that they saw me for the first time as different. I saw myself for the first time as different, the only person of color in the whole room. And as I raced down the aisles of desks, I could feel the growing animosity and confusion that my classmates had toward me. I could feel their eyes judging me. And as I reached for the doorknob, I shot a glance back at my class. And as I turned my head around, they all looked in the other direction. They didn't want to look at me anymore because I was different. And as I walked down to the library, I saw the other students who were going to take the test. They were from all over the world. They were from Somalia, Sudan, Iraq, and Cambodia. And as we walked down to the library, we passed the language arts class. And there was a student in the class. Now, I couldn't hear exactly what he was trying to say, but I could clearly see what he was trying to mouth out. And he said, "Oh, they're taking that immigrant test." Immigrant test. I see. Because the last time I checked, I was born in Portland, Maine. But I got so offended when I heard the word immigrant or when people call me an ELL student, an English language learner. Because there's this negative connotation in these words that implies that speaking another language other than English or having a different cultural or ethnic background is wrong, that I'm less inferior, that I'm less intelligent. So I guess for the next couple of years you can say, I lost a sense of who I was. Now, my parents escaped from Somali and arrived in Portland, Maine in the winter of 1993. Now, to this day, I still don't understand the decision that was made to send my African parents to one of the coldest states in the country. My mother, however, lightly chuckles at the irony. My parents came to the United States with a dream, and that dream was the American dream. A dream full of opportunity, not only for them, but for my young sister and I. Now, they fled a civil war, came an ocean away, so that my sister and I did not have to be born into a society full of war, hate, and ignorance. However, we felt the full force of hate, discrimination, and utter ignorance from so many people. My parents are by far the hardest working people I've ever met. They have done their absolute best to provide for my sister and I, and they are the strongest people I know. And I am so thankful and honored and humbled to have them in my life. They always saw the speck of light through the darkness. I, on the other hand, was enveloped in my own darkness. All too often, I felt hate and disapproval and rarely felt accepted by anyone. I felt the pressure to change myself in order to comfort those around me. I didn't know who I was as a person. I didn't know where I belonged. I tried to live in my two worlds as best as I could, trying to be as Somali or as American as possible. But that didn't help. At school, some of the kids would call me a dumb African, that I didn't belong here, even though I was born here. And in the Somali community, some of the elders said I was whitewashed, that I had abandoned my culture. In AP psychology, I learned about Erikson's theory of cognitive development, and it states that an identity crisis was normal during adolescence. However, I would wager that my situation was a little bit more complex. I was engulfed in an internal war between my Somali and American side. One of my friends, Pius Ali, told me about a little camp in Otisfield, Maine called Seeds of Peace. And at this camp, he told me about how Israeli and Palestinian students got along, how they lived and ate and played together, and they were essentially at peace. After he told me this, I took a minute and I laughed right in his face. With all the obstacles my family and I had to endure, I didn't believe in simple-sounding solutions like peace. I believed that peace was an illusion that blinds people from the reality, that it creates a false sense of security for those hopeless hopefuls. But I'm so happy to have been so wrong. Seeds of Peace changed my life. Seeds of Peace challenged me to deal with my own struggles and to become aware of those around me and their perspective. And at Seeds of Peace, I was just me. I wasn't this putrid Somali kid or some whitewashed kid who turned his back on his culture. I was just me. And before camp, the entire world was gray. That's all I ever saw. But then one day, lying in the grass, staring at the sky, I saw the colors. I saw the colors. I saw the white clouds contrast with the blue sky. I saw the colors. It was so beautiful and so powerful. And then I realized something. The sensation I've been having, one full of happiness and trust, and seeing the colors again, I realized that I was at peace. For the first time in my life, I was at peace. And you must be sitting there wondering, how? How are you at peace? It's because people accepted me for who I am. That's how I was at peace. And I learned that at this camp that peace is possible, that peace is possible. Peace is possible. And now you must be thinking, how? How is peace possible? Well, the first thing you need to realize is that peace starts with you. You have to learn how to be comfortable with yourself and be happy with yourself. And the second thing you need to realize is that you have to stand up and take action to something you believe in. Now, the world is a scary place. And there are so many issues that need to be addressed. But we can't solve anything until we start talking about it and do something. Society isn't necessarily changed by a few great men and women. It is changed from the small acts of courage and beliefs of many people. Each time a person stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, they create a tiny ripple of hope for the future. Now, if we want to see a better world, and note, I did not say a perfect world. If we want to see a better world, we're going to have to make one better ourselves. We need to make it better ourselves. Seeds of Peace opened my mind to the possibility of a new reality. I learned that solutions do exist. I learned that peace is possible, and I learned that there is reason to hope for a better future. Runta kushege. Wa kushege wah esub. Wah ina horu maklinin. Told you the truth. You're going to hear something new, something you haven't heard before. Thank you.